key report that for the past decade, millions of U.S. military emails containing highly sensitive information have been misdirected to Mali due to a typo with .ml instead of .mil. A Dutch tech entrepreneur who's been managing the country domain has been warning about this for the past decade, and control over that domain returns to the Malian government on Monday. They're a Russian ally. So what is the administration doing to deal with this issue and prevent our sensitive military data from potentially falling into the hands of a Russian ally? And how is this allowed to go unaddressed for the past decade despite warnings?
I would first point you to our colleagues at the Department of Defense. This is really more for them to speak to. As I understand it, they have now for quite some time have in place a tool that stops outbound emails that don't have the .mil at the end from going. There's not a huge amount that they can do for people sending emails into the .mil domain from outside. For instance, if you're working on your home computer and you're sending a document to your work account or something like that, which actually shouldn't be working on official stuff at home anyway, but they have done training of DoD employees, as I understand it, to warn them about that practice. But when it's inbound to a .mil address without MIL, there's not a lot that the Pentagon can do to stop that. But they're obviously been mindful of this for quite some time and have been, again, working on outbound fixes and working on training for any problems.
They have no idea. We just still know this happened. It's so crazy. We just have no idea how, any of this stuff happened. No clue. Not a clue. Welcome to the program. That's how we're starting out today. They have one job. I mean, it's crazy because this story, if you didn't see this, a little common typo sent a ton of military emails to an ally of Russia. Welcome to the show. That's how we're starting. That's how we're starting Tuesday. Hi, guys. I know, I'm so excited. Dana Lash here with you. You can listen coast to coast. You can also stream the program, and you can watch the simulcast, YouTube, Facebook, channel 347, DirecTV. How do I forget this every time? Every time I forget this. All right, so first and foremost here, the military emails. This is a pretty big deal. It's a common. How is it a common typo? You have one job. You think that this would be something, that you really wouldn't have a lot of issue with. But I digress. Millions upon millions of these emails intended for Pentagon employees inadvertently sent to email accounts in Mali over the last decade because of typos. The similarity of the military email address and the domain for the country in West Africa. It was a Dutch technologist who discovered the problem. Now, they said sometimes it was sensitive information like hotel, really movements of where they were going. I mean, it's kind of little like senior military personnel, if they were staying in hotels, that was all revealed in here. The emails were intended for the .mil, that's U.S. military, but because of typos, they were sent to the .ml, and that's Mali. Financial Times had the story, and this Dutch internet entrepreneur received the emails because his company was contracted to manage that domain. And so he said he's been raising, now here's the kicker, since 2013, he has been raising this issue with U.S. officials, including raising this issue with people in the U.S. Embassy. And that was in 2013. I mean, you're a special kind of stupid to have it go on for this long. The department has blocked its email accounts from email. I mean, do you really have to sit here and stop and tell these people, now, look, guys, when we send out emails, we need to be very careful that they're going here and not here. Apparently, they said it was all personal. I mean, it's just, it's troubling. And if there were millions, I'm really curious as to exactly what's the scope of everything that went over there. That's going to be a long time investigation. But how in the world it's just recklessness. And this was in 2013. So this even predates Trump. And so it was even happening when he was in the White House. That's how big and ridiculous the whole government, the idea of this big government that we've grown over the past several decades, that's how big it's gotten. We don't even know when something like this happens. It takes a Dutch entrepreneur who's managing the Mali account to actually see it. There was a whole bunch of U.S. Special Operations Command emails publicly available online for like a couple of weeks in February because of an IT misconfiguration. I feel like at some point it's not mistake after mistake. I mean, at some point it has to, I mean, it's recklessness that seems like it's purposeful. I mean, that's just my take on it. So millions of these directed